Hey guys, welcome to Tom's World. And today we're going to dive into Kendrick Lamar's new interview. Let's get it. So today, Harper Bazaar released the interview that they had with Kendrick Lamar today. In the interview, who was interviewing Kendrick Lamar was SZA. In the interview, Kendrick Lamar gets personal too. And this interview was released today, but this interview happened a long time ago. It happened in August of this year, which was still in the height of Not Like Us, when it still was popping on the charts. And it's still popping on the charts to this day, you know what I mean? Congrats to the boy K-Dot, you know what I mean? But this was a very interesting interview. Kendrick Lamar just talks about like the meaning of Not Like Us and where his head is at during like the height of the popularity of the song, you know? Further ado, I'm just going to explain like the whole interview and break it down and just like read the whole interview to you guys, because I know some guys didn't read the interview and they didn't want to, so they would rather watch a video on it. So I'm deciding to make a video about it, you know. So I'm about to start reading it right now. So the interview starts off with SZA saying, "We shot a movie last night. I never shot a movie before, so I was freaking out. It's a lot of being scared to be myself. I'm either going to pretend it never happened or not show up to the premiere. I met Cat Williams. He told me I was mentally ill, like as a compliment. He was like, 'Sir, I believe you might have some mental,' and I was like, 'Illness?' And he was like, 'Yes.' He said, 'Oh, welcome. I want to ask you about your mental health. Do you feel like you suffer from mental illness or experience it ever? Or do you just feel like you're in a multitude of feelings and you're not putting a label on it?" Kendrick Lamar then responds saying, "I grew up with that term. I was hearing it when I was 5 or 6 years old." And SZA asks, "So do you identify with it but not as it?" Mike's and Kendrick Lamar responds, "My whole thing is it's all an experience. I say some stuff on a record and identify with a moment, and then I identify with it. I don't identify with it anymore. That's just growth for me. All that stuff is subjective." SZA says it's giving self-therapy. Kendrick Lamar responds, "I think it's going back to my inner child, right? I was trying to understand myself, trying to find people I could relate to, how to identify myself outside myself. It sounds crazy to a lot of people. I really can see myself out of my body. When I do that, I have no judgment toward it. It's too many eyes on me to not remove myself. That stuff is scary to anybody else." SZA asked, "Are you scared?" And Kendrick Lamar responded, "No, because I've learned that I can't identify with my performances on stage. I can't hold my true whole identity to that person who's on stage, because if I did, that means I will judge every movement, every time I F up a lyric, every time I'm off key. It's too much to deal with. So I have a distance between the performer and the person I close my eyes and look at the ceiling with. I had to develop that tough skin at like 16, 17 years old, and knowing it was not only for my career but for myself. It's mentally ill for sure." SZA asks, says, "It's very honest. Speaking of honesty and ego, have you done ayahuasca?" And Kendrick Lamar says, "I haven't done it." And then SZA says, "What? I wonder how you're arriving at all these conclusions. I want to talk to you about your spiritual practice. How many spiritual practices contribute to your day-to-day?" Drake responds with, "All day, every day." I mean, people knew this because of the fact that like after when Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers dropped, like Kendrick was more transparent through his work and more emotional and more like honest, brutally honest with his feelings and how he felt and who he is as a person. So you can definitely see the growth in Kendrick Lamar during this interview. But back on track, SZA says, "All day ceremony. Ain't no BS, ain't no cliche, but I literally talk to God like it's to a point where I'll starting to think I'm going crazy, but then he has to remind me, no, this is really me. My early morning practice is that I have to run. When I start running, that's where I start to understand there was a threshold of pain in the spirituality for me. I remember my shins was aching, and I was like, I got 1 mile to go. Then I get whispers and downloads and start talking about stuff that I want to know about. And the next thing you know, I'm 3 miles in, 4 miles in, and I wake up and do that stuff every day. Then says, loss of self, you have to break yourself. And Kendrick Lamar says, I have to. I'm grateful for the God T. Sidebar, what do you feel like your top 3 contributing factors of self-transformation in the last few years have been? Kendrick Lamar then says, the power of honesty and being honest with myself, perspective about the person sitting across from me, and learning that vulnerability is not weakness. That one probably been that last one probably been one I'm still developing. Scissor asks, which one is the hardest? Oh my goodness, I need a breather because I'm breathing too much. Yo, sometimes if you get to this point in the video, I just want to say I want to thank everybody that subscribed to my channel and like my videos and share my videos. And if you're new to the channel and you're just watching this video right now, please hit that like button and subscribe button. Well, now back to the video. Kendrick Lamar says the last one, and it says why. Kendrick Lamar says, we talk about our childhood. I hate going back to that. It's traumatizing. My pops, he was tough. He was militant. As far as every day you're expected to go to work, take care of your family, get back up to do it all over again, being a man type stuff, right? And he never showed no weakness. He never showed any emotion that could garner a one-up from the person sitting across from him. And I learned to experience that, not knowing I had them same traits, right? But for what I do, there is certainly no growth without vulnerability, which is a fact. I understood the power of vulnerability early. I could have had more depth and more reach to the guys that was around me in the neighborhood coming up. You know, our parents, they never had these outlets to express themselves the way they wanted to. I've always looked at us. My fault. I can't even speak. I've always looked at us as somewhat of a beacon of hope for them. I always wanted to know, how does your mom feel about your self-expression? So then SZA responds and saying, my mom grew up dark-skinned in the 50s. My mom integrated schools in St. Louis. She made herself smaller to be polite and non-problematic Audrey. And growing up in the burbs, where we were the one of the few black families, she kind of passed that to me. She developed this delightful energy that she really, truly does have. But also, I feel like deep down, she really needs to beat some ass and she'll feel better. She told me about how she spends so much time monitoring herself. People be like, oh yeah, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams when you are talking about it's time to vote. But I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams because I can be a bee and I'm okay with that because my mom wasn't allowed to be a bee in her space or in white spaces. And I feel like that's my duty to literally get in here and be like, I'm going to do what I want. And I feel like my mom at first was really uncomfortable with me saying crass things and behaving in a certain way. And she was embarrassed, even though she was proud. And then something happened where it started to free her. She started moving things around in the house, designing the house and being free. She didn't grow up with money or anything. So it was scary for her to think about renovating a crib or having something for herself. She never imagined what her dream house could be. So it's like, it scared her. It effed her up. She was upset and embarrassed, but now she's like freed by proxy type stuff. And Kendrick Lamar responds to, you gave her that. And SZA says, and she gave it to me. When was the last time you cried? when was the first time you cried? Now it's starting to get interesting. Kendrick Lamar starts to say that the last time he cried was probably on Mr. Morale in the Big Steppers on Mother I Sober record. That stuff was deep. Mother I Sober was a very deep, 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 and sad song. It's probably one of the saddest songs Kendrick Lamar has written, and one of like the like emotional songs he ever written, and the most transparent song he ever written. The song is very emotional. He talks about confronting his trauma head on by describing the upbringing and the traumatic experiences that came with his upbringing. He details his mother's experience with sexual abuse and the fear that Lamar might experience assault as well. Later on, Lamar asserts he was never a subject to drug addiction but rather lust. Lamar then feels like a sense of despair and hopelessness as he opens up about cheating on his first-time fiance, and he sees his actions in the same vein as the actions of his mother's abusers. And then he describes the ongoing remorse and guilt associated with his mistakes. Like, the song is very deep. And towards the end of the song, Kendrick metaphorically frees himself and everyone affected by the toxicity, by the employing transparency, pride, and positivity, thus aiming to break the so-called generational curse. This all progresses the theme that Kendrick reasserts throughout the project, in that he's only human. Take that, Drake. Like, Drake, you are stupid. Like, why would you ever use this song against Kendrick in the Heart Part 6? Like, if you guys heard the Heart Part 6 or haven't listened to the Heart Part 6, you should listen to it. It is garbage, and you shouldn't, like, yeah. Actually, I shouldn't even advocate for people to listen to it. That song was so horrible. Don't listen to it, yo. But, like, the thing that pisses me off with the Heart Part 6 is that Drake literally said that Kendrick got molested in this song. When you literally listen to the song, you can hear that, like, Kendrick is talking about his mother, not himself. He never got molested. Like, and that's not even something to make fun of somebody for. Like, I don't get it. Like, Drake is he's probably one of the dumbest rappers for that. Like, that was he's not the dumbest rapper. That was probably one of the dumbest moves made by a rapper. But back to the video. To learn more about the song Mother I Sober, I'm gonna put the link in the video, the link of a video that I watched, and it's a beautiful breakdown of Mother I Sober record. Check out the YouTuber Deadpan Duke and his video how Drake popularized Mr. Morale's most important song. And that song, like that video breaks down the meaning of Mother I Sober. But back to the video again. SZA then says, "Would you say you done more crying recently than you have ever in your life?" Now, yeah, I have to. And SZA says, "It's cleansing." Kendrick Lamar then says to SZA, "It might be easier for you though." And SZA says, "I cry all the time. I'm gonna cry right now because this is just beautiful." Wait, you didn't tell me what was your first time that you allowed it to happen? Kendrick Lamar says, "The first time I allowed it to happen is documented. Actually, on stage in 2011 when Dr. Dre and Snoop and the whole West Coast was out, and there was like, this is the torch that we are handing off. Dr. Dre passed me the torch, and the burst of energy just came out, and I had to let it flow. My tears is all on the internet, and now I can look back, and I love that moment. I love that happened because it showed me in real time expressing myself and seeing all the work that I put forth actually come to life in that moment."
All this love. It's a beautiful thing, my nigga. You great at what you do. You ain't good at what you do. You great at what you do. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna mean this. Nigga, you got the torch, nigga. You better run with it. You better run with it, nigga, because it's yours.
And yeah, that was an emotional like thing for Kendrick because he worked so hard and he was giving his all in the music, and it's now finally paying off. So they passed him the torch. But no further ado, let's get back to the video. Scissors then says that was an emotional and pretty. What do you want for yourself now? What's your driving force? Do you feel like you've done it all? Do you feel like now it's all for the plot? Is the plot you? Is further self-discovery the plot? Is it domination? Rick then says, it's funny. I was asking myself that this morning. I get fulfilled sharing my experiences with the youth and allowing them to hear these stories and hear these experiences and catch up to them. So to actually answer your question, it's communication just with people in general. And I feel like my work in music is just the start. I don't think it's my end goal. I know it's not my end goal. Music is just a vessel to get me there. But then says, do you have an idea of what you're supposed to do? And Kendrick Lamar says, I don't. I'm curious, and that's what keeps me energized. SZA then says, do you ever have a desire specifically of what it should be, or are you gonna let God shape it for you? And Kendrick Lamar says, I'm gonna let God shape it. I love the mystery of it. I have to have it. I have to. The chase of it all. You know what I'm saying? And SZA says, you're so teachable. And Kendrick Lamar laughs and says, shut up. And then SZA says, you are. That's what I feel like I suffer from. I'm not teachable for real. That's my problem, because I always be like either in fear or do some stuff. I have a low pain tolerance but a high competition tolerance. I can't explain it. What is it that you want the most? If you want for anything? Information. I want it all. I want the resources. I want to meet people smarter than me. I want to talk to them. I want them to show me things. I just want to be fulfilled with whatever this world has to offer. This stuff hypes me up. Information. I'm a mother effing nerd for it. You is too. SZA says, I am. This stuff is a mystery, and I love it as a mystery. I love it. I love that the answers could be wrong or right. And SZA says, you have such a father time energy. It's very universal dad vibes. Actually, it's more than universal sensei. It's almost gender ambiguous. It's father and mother, because you actually seem quite in tune with your feminine energy. Do you consider yourself in touch with your feminine side? I have to balance both at all. All I knew was the masculinity, and I always kept that wall up because of my pops. But the more I delve deeper into my music and the more expressive I get with myself, this is the feminine energy right there. That's not a bravado that I grew up seeing all the time. This is who I am, the soft-spoken me, and I have to own it. This is where my superpowers lies. Because if my job is to communicate, I need to be able to communicate with everybody. I need to be able to sit in front of SZA and talk to you in a way where you feel comfortable, in a way where it feels authentic from me to you, you to me. And I can't do that with a wall up. I can't do that with my full masculinity. The interesting questions that SZA asked, and like what are the biggest questions she asked throughout the interview, she says, can I ask you a hyper masculine question? You can tell me also to shut the F up. What does not like us mean to you? I say this is interesting because we haven't gotten any insight on like what not like us means to Kendrick. I mean, we seen him perform the song 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5 times on the Juneteenth concert. Like, the fans, Kendrick fans, haven't gotten like the response of like, you know what I mean, like what Pusha T did with the story of Adidon when he went on interviews explaining about like his point of view of him making the song and how he felt making the song. You feel me? But now we actually get to hear his perspective. So Kendrick Lamar laughs and says, not like us. Not like us is the energy of who I am, the type of man I represent. Now, if you identify with the man that I represent, then SZA interrupts him and says, break that man down for me. This man has morals. He has values. He believes in something. He stands on something. He's not pandering. He's a man who can recognize his mistakes and not be afraid to share his mistakes. And you could dig deep down into a fear-based ideologies or experiences to be able to express them without feeling like he's less of a man. If I'm thinking of not like us, I'm thinking of me and whoever identifies with that. And when he says he's not pandering, that is such a shot at J. Cole and Drake. Like seriously, I feel like it's more of a shot to J. Cole than to Drake, because J. Cole released 7 Minute Freestyle, then took it down and apologized, which was, you know what I mean? Like honestly, when he first did that, I didn't like it, but then over time it made sense on why he did that, because Kendrick was gonna rip him apart, like seriously, like how he did Drake. So, J. Cole is a smart man, like seriously. To ask him another question, is asking, now can I say something else in that realm, or you want me to get away from that? Can I ask you something else? And Kendrick Lamar responds, is it me? And SZA says, no, it's more like, so I thought it was really interesting that there was any consensus at all that you might be an angry individual. For me, I don't find that any energy that comes from you comes from an angry place. And actually, the last hour and change pretty much solidifies that. It's almost from a yogic mind-like place. So when you feel the surge of energy in the records like that, where is the root? Is it anger? Kendrick then responds saying, I don't believe I'm an angry person, but I do believe in love and war, and I believe they both need to exist. And my awareness of that allows me to react to things, but not identify with them as who I am. Just allowing them to exist, allowing them to flow through me. That's what I believe. Then SZA says, I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead before I say something crazy. Kendrick Lamar says, okay, now let me see what's going on with you, man. What I've always loved about you and respected about you is your ability to fully express yourself. How have you been able to navigate that through your music? Do you dread it coming out through certain lyrics? SZA then says, I wrote a song last summer that was too honest and I couldn't put it out. I just be telling on myself so crazy and I can't stop. It's like I have to tell on myself so I'm not bored, because otherwise I'm just like, what's the point? When I'm in the studio, it hurts too much sometimes. Maybe that's why I tap in and pretend to be other people. That's why I'm pretending to be you, or pretending to be Frank Ocean, or pretending to be Future, because it's easy. It's easy to me to be me through the eyes than it is to sit with some of the really harsh things I say about myself or to myself. I guess I want to say nicer things about myself, so I'm like, I guess I shouldn't look through my eyes and I should look through somebody else's. And I heard Mr. Morale, I was like, I'm not digging deep enough in my art. I'm running from so many things. So now I'm in the bag. I'm in my bag, and I'm like, okay, I'm codependent. I'm a people pleaser. I'm afraid of all these things. I'm so effing selfish. All these things I tell myself because I have to strip the ego from the bottom. I have to, because I'm bored to death with the irritation of myself. Why am I trying to not be human so bad? Because it hurts so dang bad. But that is the job. No matter how many spirits you talk to or any of that, it just doesn't matter. You have to be here. You are going to be in the ether eventually. It's just not now. Whoo, jeez, like, oh my goodness. Yo, like, I need some water, yo. Like, this is crazy. Like, I feel like I'm reading, like, a book out loud to myself. Like, you know what I mean? Ooh, I needed a breather. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna come back real quick. But anyways, guys, this interview is almost over. All right, let me get into the last part of the interview. So then Kendrick Lamar says, that's what I'm talking about. I appreciate you. And says, I am laughing at myself for crying, but thank you. I appreciate you too. Kendrick Lamar says, I am proud of you. I'm not only proud of your artistry, I'm proud of you in a sense of carrying and respecting who you are and being able to go through the emotions and aware of it and say, okay, this is me. I can either grow from it or I can put it away and come back to it. That's what I get from you. I think you got a good sense of that. Just knocking out the fear of it all. And SZA's last thing she says, I gotta do what you're doing. Your philosophy of when it gets too hot, that's when you gotta go like closer through it, all the way through until your shins is burning. I want to take it there. And that is the whole interview. Phew, we finally made it. Let's give a round of applause to me. Yeah, we made it. Woo, yeah. But anyways, this interview was a very good interview. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think Kendrick Lamar made the right decision. But like for doing this interview, I think he made the right decision. I feel like he should talk about his album. That's what I was waiting. That's why I read the whole thing. That's why I was eager to read it. You feel me? I thought he was going to talk about his like Super Bowl performance or his like upcoming album, like his 6th studio album. But at the same time, this interview was made in August. But this interview was a good interview and a good sit down. I feel like Kendrick Lamar is taking it back to the roots with the media, and he's calling out the media with this interview because like he's just taking it back to the roots. Like now rappers are basically doing like interviews with streamers now, and like we're losing the essence of rap media now in this day and age because people don't know how to utilize rap media to their full advantage and to show artistry and growth, which is Kendrick Lamar is doing. So Kendrick Lamar is for the culture. We love Kendrick Lamar, and this was a beautiful interview. Well done from Kendrick Lamar and SZA for putting this together. And shout out to Harper Bazaar. This was a good interview. And yeah, Kendrick Lamar really tapped into his bag with this interview. He tapped into his spirituality, how he feels about Not Like Us, and his thought process. We got to hear more about him. You know what I mean? I would appreciate if they released like a live action. I said live action. Like this wasn't live action. Like an actual video of like the whole interview. Like that would be dope to watch. But as we're inching closer to like February, to the Super Bowl performance and stuff like that, and his album release, hopefully the album release and comes out like sometime this year, or later on in 2025, because he has a huge tour planned out. Hopefully he drops something. I can't wait. I'm excited as a Kendrick Lamar fan and just can't wait to see what's next for Kendrick Lamar. But that is it, yo. Thank you for making it this far into the video, and welcome to Tom's World. And I appreciate everybody that like and share this video and watch the video. I appreciate all my subscribers. I thank you so much. I appreciate you. More bangers are on the way. Like, I can't wait to share them with y'all guys. This is probably my longest video yet, and I want to thank everybody that made it this far to the video. And I really want to thank everybody. I want to thank God. I want to thank you guys, and I want to appreciate you guys, and I want to encourage everybody that watches my channel to put God first, yo, because you never know. You know what I mean? God is God is the reason why we're still here and why you're still here, pushing through. God is going to take you to places that you never could imagine. Just keep him first, always, no matter what. And I just want to say, let my subscribers and my subscribers to know that, and thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. We are on the road to 1K. We have 339 subscribers. Let's keep this running up. Let's keep running it up and running up them numbers. Your boy has passed 20K views on his channel. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. I love you guys. I'm gonna head out now and be on the lookout for new and more videos. This video I'm not probably gonna come out till like I would say the last week of October, or like near November. But anyways, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, and I love you. Bye. I'm out. Peace. Be on the lookout for the new video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, please. Thank you. Bye.